last night, National Park published some tweets that were scientific facts about climate change. And then those tweets disappeared shortly after there. So I'm wondering if this White House had anything to do with that, and if there's a broader, as it's been reported by some organizations, if there is a broader mandate going out to federal agencies about, halting speech coming from those agencies.
No, there's nothing that's come from the White House. Absolutely not. I think in some cases, I know in the Park Service, for example, over the weekend, somebody an unauthorized user had an old password in the San Francisco office, went in and started retweeting inappropriate things that were in violation of their policy. And they've directed. I mean, so that again, remember, I know this happened in the EPA is another example of I think some social media contact. The EPA actually violated the Anti-Deficiency Act and the anti-lobbying bans. I think it was a year ago during the Obama administration, and inappropriately marketing some policies of President Obama. And I think there's a couple of these agencies that have had problems adhering to their own policies, and I would refer you back to them as to why those things are happening. But I know that they are taking steps in both of those two cases to address inappropriate use of social media. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. Has the president reached out to Mayor Emanuel or any Chicago law enforcement authorities to discuss the concerns that he expressed in his tweet last night?
Well, he met with Mayor Emanuel during the transition, expressed to him his support for the city, the need to deal with the crime and the killings that are occurring in Chicago. I mean, I think when President Obama was speaking his farewell address the other day, 2 people were killed the same day that the president was in his home city. And I think the president-elect at the time extended his support to Mayor Emanuel to say that the resources of the federal government are here for you. To the best of my knowledge, that return call for help has not occurred. Kristen.
Sean, thank you. A couple of questions.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that draft executive order that would undo some of the restrictions for handling detainees. Has the president seen that draft EO?
I'm sorry, the one that he's signing?
Has he seen it? No, the draft executive order that would undo the restrictions on how to handle detainees.
I guess I'm having a hard time. You're asking me if a document that's not a White House document he's seen. I don't believe, to the best of my knowledge, and so I would ask. This is the second day in a row we're getting asked about documents that are floating around, and people saying, and frankly, reports being published attributing documents to the White House that are not White House documents.
And I haven't attributed it
No,
to the
I'm
White
not saying you.
House.
Do
you know if he's seen it?
To the best of my knowledge, he hasn't seen it. I think he's got a lot of other things.
Since it is floating around, I have a couple more questions.
You get one more. Let's not agree.
I have 2 more. Since it is floating around,
Okay.
is he considering
Kristen,
bringing back
this is a
black sites and
I'm not going to
water
start answering hypotheticals about documents that are floating around. That's a ridiculous. You're basically okay, Kristen. We're going to end this right now. Yeah, John Roberts. Lynn, I will get to you, but but that was very, very enthusiastic, and I appreciate it. You're getting an award today. John,
speak up, Lynn. For the record, I very much appreciate and respect Lynn. You mentioned this morning, the president's brought this out in the news again, that he wants to launch an investigation into voting irregularities in the 2016 election. Yet,
not just to be clear, not just in 2016. I think in terms of registration, where you've got folks on rolls that have been deceased or moved or registered in 2 counties. This isn't just about the 26 election. This is about the integrity of our voting system.
And there are studies that back up what he tweeted out this morning to suggest that people are registered in multiple states and that people who were dead are still on the rolls. But attorneys who were representing the president-elect during the recounts in several states emphatically stated, quote, all available evidence suggests the 2016 election was not tainted by fraud or mistake. So how do you square those two things?
Well, I think there's a lot of states that we didn't compete in where that's not necessarily the case. If you look at California and New York, I'm not sure that those statements we didn't look at those 2 states in particular. I mean, as the president has noted before, he campaigned to win the Electoral College, not the popular vote. He campaigned in places like Iowa. He campaigned extensively to win Maine 2. And I think if you were campaigning to win the popular vote, you don't spend with all due respect to my brethren in New England, you don't spend a ton of time in Maine 2 to get that one electoral vote. You would have campaigned more in California, which he didn't. You would have campaigned more in New York, which he didn't. There are big states, very populous states in urban areas where you would have spent more time campaigning, but he played the game according to the rules of the game, which is an electoral strategy. That being said, I think when you look at where a lot of potential a lot of these issues could have occurred in bigger states. That's where I think we're going to look. But I think there'll be more on that as the week goes on, and we'll be able to examine that further. I don't want to start throwing out numbers, but there's a lot of people that are dead. They're on rolls. There are people that are voting in or that are on the rolls in 2 different states, sometimes in 3 different states. I think taking the necessary steps to study and to track what we can do to both understand the scope of the problem, and then secondly, how to stop the problem going forward is something that's definitely clearly in the best interest. Margaret.
Sean, one point of personal privilege. Could we get the text of the executive orders when the president makes the announcement?
Yes.
That would help
In fact,
us a
I
lot.
will tell you this, with Margaret, I was just told the president is about to speak. I will get you the executive orders ASAP. Thank you guys very much. Real quick, hold on, real quick, guys, okay, hold on. Can I?